The most dangerous business podcast in the world. Entrepreneurs and ambitious people, if you want to build a powerful, profitable, impactful business, if you want to study and fall in love with the process, if you want to acquire the skills, habits, and determination you need to level up in business and in life, that's fantastic because I'm working on the same thing. This is the Game of Grow movement. Welcome back. You are now listening to the Game of Grow podcast, and I'm your host, Moyo Okome. It's episode 9 of the most dangerous business podcast in the world. It doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. Are you willing to take the challenge and grow? All right, guys. Well, it seems like you really enjoyed last week's crossover episode inside the Okome family hustle with my wife, Nikayla. So thank you guys for all the love and the support. And it's actually funny because after we finished, we were recording late at night. We wondered, is anybody going to want to listen to this? Is this even any good? And it seems like you guys did like it. So I want to know, should we do more of that? Give me a shout and let me know. Of course, gameofgrow.com/chat is the best place to reach me for that. And real quick, before we get into the review of the week, I want to announce that thanks to you guys, our show, the Game of Grow podcast, the Game of Grow community, the Game of Grow movement is officially over 10,000 downloads. 85 reviews with featuring new and noteworthy podcasts in business, marketing, health, self-help, education, and training. And it is all thanks to you guys. You guys have been killing it by subscribing, by leaving those 5-star reviews. By the way, quick fun fact, did you know that if you love the show, but you just do not feel like writing right now, you can just hit the 5-star rating and then you can be right on your way without writing a word, and it still helps us out a whole bunch. And of course, the other way is by telling your friends. But even more important than all of that, all these numbers, is the feedback. Feedback I've been getting from you guys. I crave the feedback. Feedback keeps me going. It lets me know what's working for you and what's not. So please keep the feedback coming, whether it's positive or constructive, on any channel you want to give it. Your feedback is vital. And one of my favorite forms of feedback is reviews in the podcast store. This week's review comes from Shala 000, who says, game-changing 5-star review. Game of Grow is a game changer. Why? Because this is the podcast for entrepreneurs who are tired of listening to the usual success stories that lack practical and specific tools that arm you in the real world. Moyo is a genuine, passionate entrepreneur who, along with his guests, not only talks about lessons of success, but equally as important, what mistakes to avoid. He's already quite accomplished, but he knows that creating a business is a lifelong adventure. Yes, it is. This podcast provides real, actionable insight on how to take the helm in your own journey. Shala, my man, I appreciate you and thank you for the awesome review. Definitely means a lot to me that you took the time. So guys, if you enjoy the show, please make sure that you subscribe and review and tell friends so that they can benefit too. And yes, I am talking specifically to you. I've learned I have to talk specifically to people. And remember that I'm sweetening the pot. So when you hit me up inside gameofgrow.com/chat and let me know that you've already subscribed and given us that 8-star review, 9-star review, 10-star review, I'm going to provide you exclusive behind the scenes access to secret conversations with 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs, which you cannot get anywhere else. And trust me, they are full of gold that you can enjoy and you can apply that are going to help you in your business and in your life. All right. So moving right along, welcome back. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you are here with me and I will never take that for granted. So I promise to give you everything that I've got. On today's episode, have you ever noticed that many of the top performers in business, many top entrepreneurs, they make health and physical fitness a major priority in their life? Now, why is that? Maybe I'm asking a real dumb question here. Maybe it seems kind of obvious, but I want to tell you a story. And that story begins with me sitting in the driver's seat of my car. It was a Mazda 3 at the time, no longer with us, but I do love that car to this day. So 4.5 years ago, this was after I left my job to go full-time as an entrepreneur. So I'd earned the freedom I finally wanted in terms of controlling my time, and I love that. I love that I no longer had to commute to work. But while I was making that transition, I kind of neglected to realize that I now need to be a lot more purposeful and intentional about making sure that I move my body each day. And there was really no longer any movement built into my day. So it was only a matter of time before I hit a low point with regard to my health and physical fitness. So I knew this because several of my pants had shrunk so I could barely button them. And I don't know how many of you have ever been there before. If it's you, you can raise your hand. But it wasn't the pants. My belly now hung over the seatbelt of my car for the first time. And I felt slow, lethargic, and low energy a large percentage of the time. And wouldn't you know it, all this started to have an adverse effect on my work ethic and consequently on my business as well. And to give you some perspective, I'm not one of these fast metabolism people who can eat whatever they want and be fine. If that's you, God bless you, but that's not my ministry. So despite being athletic most of my life, this has been a lifelong struggle for me. And in that moment, with my belly hanging over the seatbelt of my Mazda, I felt embarrassed. I felt like a failure. And I was just pissed off at myself for allowing this to happen yet again. I felt an extreme dissatisfaction, and I just couldn't lie to myself anymore. It wasn't the pants that had shrunk. It was me, and I was getting lazy and fat. And in that moment, I made a decision. You've heard me talk about this before in a business context. This time it was in a fitness context. It's pretty much exactly the same thing. I made a decision that things had to change, even though I didn't know exactly how I was going to reach my eventual goal. So at this time, I posted a picture on my Facebook and my Instagram. It was taken on March 2011. At the time, I was doing boxing workouts 2 to 3 times a week when that picture was originally taken. So I posted this picture with the following caption. #TBT Throwback Thursday 2011. Pushing for this or better if it takes till 2017. Am I right? Kayla K Speaks. That was Side Hustle Pro's Instagram name at the time. #hard work. #dedication. #nutrition. #consistency. #can't stop. #won't stop. #long road ahead. So at this time, I was making a decision, and then I made a declaration to just make it more real. And whether it's business, fitness, or whatever, if you want something, you just have to make a decision that you're going to get that thing. And most of the time, you're not actually going to know how. That's something that you're actually going to figure out after you've already committed. So my goal here, I want to regain my level of fitness from 2011. And maybe I'll include that picture for you in the show notes. And it took a while for me to see any progress at all. It took research. It took several changes of the plan to continue the progress. But a little more than a year later, I reached and surpassed my goal, and I was able to actually maintain my progress over time. This was one of the best things I'd ever done for myself, and the benefits have gone way beyond the physical and the aesthetic. So I'm just putting this out there for anyone who may be feeling how I was feeling at that moment. Just know that you have the power to change your situation. It's definitely going to take time, discipline, the right information, but it's entirely possible if and only if you decide that it's important to you. And another very related, super quick story. This one also revolves around one of my favorite fitness pictures of myself. I also posted this picture on Facebook near the beginning of this year. And when I make these posts, I'm usually talking to myself in the post with the message. I'm giving myself some kind of reminder, and then hopefully it resonates with some other people as well. So the caption read, "Sometimes you have to make a decision, commit to it, and figure out the details on the way. Execution brings clarity, though it will still be a fight." Accomplished this a couple years ago, by the way, referring to the picture. Wife says we're bringing it back. Now, I love this picture, and I'll show you this picture as well. Not only because it shows me in the best shape of my life, and I'm super proud of that, but because it really illustrates the process of getting fit, showing my body in 3 or 4 different stages spread out by months, in April, in August, in November, and in January, as well as months worth of my week-to-week measurements and weigh-ins written out by hand. So in a very limited way, it documents the whole process. And I'm even more proud of all the discipline it took and the consistent work I put in over time to make it a reality. But despite that, whenever I post these pictures, whenever I post this kind of content, no matter what the caption or story or message I try to convey, inevitably the comments read something like, "Nice abs, bro," or "You're a monster." And I love all of that. It's great for my ego. And who doesn't love to be acknowledged after putting in work? But even in this social media world where more than 5 seconds of attention is asking a lot, I find it interesting that most people tend to focus on the event, which is the killer abs or the muscles or whatever the case may be, than the process, what it actually took to get there, stay there, etc., and how you can implement something similar in your life. Because to me, the process is really where the majority of the gold is. So let's talk a little bit more about the process and exactly how I did it. And this is still a business and personal development podcast. So more importantly, how this process is relevant to your business and to your life. And it's basically a 3-step process. Maybe it's not easy, but it's super simple. Step 1, make a decision. I always need to set a goal. I want to get to X, and I'm going to get to X, no matter what it takes and no matter how long it takes. I've talked about doing this in a lot of episodes because it's important, but it doesn't necessarily come natural to most people, including myself. I probably talked about it in just about all the episodes, episode 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And whether I'm doing it in business, like we talked about in all the other episodes, or fitness, as we're talking about today, it's the same process. For me, it comes down to, if you really want something, go ahead and get it. And don't make excuses. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you make a solid plan based on proven methods and put in the work consistently, it's bound to happen over time. This goes for fitness, it goes for business, for education, anything. And it's a bit counterintuitive, and I didn't always know this, but I always want to commit first and then figure out the rest later. And that brings us to the next step. Step 2 is you want to decide on a plan. As much as we want to freewheel and freelance, when you're doing hard and unfamiliar things, having some sort of structure or plan can be very helpful, or at least it's been helpful to me. It's never going to be perfect, but having some sort of rough guide or map, it's going to cut down your learning curve tremendously. Somehow, when you have constraints, it gives you more freedom in which you can excel. So I always want to find a mentor, find a plan, and find the bounds within which I'll operate. And this could refer to books or podcasts, could be a physical person. And if I have to pay, then I just make it happen and I pay. And because I'm not an expert in this space, I'm not an expert on fitness, I learned from people who are experts when I was putting together my plan. So big shout out to my people, Vaughn Glover, Cassandra Nuama, Coach CastFit on Instagram, as well as Brandon Carter and Nicole Chaplin, who are online trainers, for providing credible fitness information as well as frequent fitness inspiration. Then based on the information I gathered, I decided exactly what my plan was going to be in terms of what I was going to eat and how I was going to work out. And having those guidelines made it so much easier to move forward and to execute. And in business, it's been basically the same thing. I always talk about this. Sometimes it's books, audiobooks, videos, podcasts. Sometimes it's real life people. Or it could be their paid courses. It could be their programs. You have the plan. You want to execute that plan. As the great Leonardo da Vinci once put it, I've been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. And you're going to learn so much from the actual execution. Whether it's business, fitness, or something else, there are going to be some things that you don't want to do because they're boring, because they're uncomfortable, because you don't like them, or whatever the case may be. Like I emphasize with my students in At Moguls or anybody I advise on their business, you have to get it out there into the market and actually get into the process of doing. That's when you're really going to start learning things. In terms of my process, when it came to this fitness thing, there really wasn't a mystery. You probably heard most of it before. Nutrition and exercise were both key components, and nutrition was probably the most important for me. And I can go on about this for a while, but I'll summarize with caloric deficit was big, unlimited leafy green vegetables, protein, pay attention to portion size, minimal sugar and carbs, unlimited water and seltzer, and I did one cheat day per week, burgers, pizza, chicken, ice cream, full body workouts, use heavy weights, compound lifts, high intensity cardio. And by no means is the way I went, by no means is this the only way to go, but it does work well for me. So if you want to know anything about that, anything that I did, feel free to ask. gameofgrow.com/chat is where you can find me. Another thing is that other people may have advantages that I don't have that make their road easier than mine. And that has absolutely nothing to do with me or my success. Another is that there are so many excuses to choose from, and all of these excuses will make you unsuccessful. Another is, even if you're eating healthy foods, portion sizes matter. Don't lie to yourself if you want to progress. Another is that eating the same things over and over, it really tends to help me out. So anyway, there are going to be days where you just don't feel like getting up and doing the thing. And it's exactly those days that it's the most important to do exactly that, even if it's not perfect. You just want to stay consistent. There are going to be setbacks and failures, and you're going to need to make adjustments. And this is all just part of the game. But you're already committed to getting to your goal no matter what and no matter how long, so it's all good. And I could see all of this super clearly because of the experience and the process I just went through with my fitness. So that was one powerful lesson that I walked away with, which is the power of discipline and consistency applied to a proven plan. And another lesson, perhaps the most amazing one, was that these principles apply not just to fitness, but to pretty much everything. Fitness was just one application of it. It was really interesting. Right after I had this fitness accomplishment and this experience and got into the best shape of my life, I finally read this book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It'd been recommended to me for years, but I never quite got around to reading it. And I really gotta say, The Slight Edge came along for me at exactly the right time. This was a time when I could really understand and grasp its message perfectly because I just seen the results play out in my own life before I even had the proper words to describe exactly what was happening. Having gone through this process of shedding 40 to 50 or more pounds and getting into the best shape of my life over the course of a year, not only did the message make sense to me, but I started to think about where else this kind of thinking and this kind of structured process might be effective to me. In brief, The Slight Edge tells us, rather than being caused by dramatic action, success is usually the result of small choices made every day, things that are very easy to do, but also very easy to not do. And failure is caused the same way. Over the short term, from day to day or week to week, the effects of these choices are hardly noticeable. But when compounded over the long term, their effects are dramatic and significant. As the late great Nipsey Hussle once put it, I'm all about seeing the long term, seeing a vision, understanding nothing really worthwhile happens overnight, and just sticking to your script long enough to make something real happen. Alternatively, he also said, instead of trying to build a brick wall, lay a brick every day. Eventually, you'll look up and you'll have a brick wall. And those of you who are signed up for the weekly Hustlers Corner emails, you may be familiar with those quotes because they appeared in the last edition. Those of you guys who are not signed up, I'm sorry, but it's a secret. I'm not going to tell you where to sign up. You should have been paying attention before. But anyway, the choices that you make each day can either work for you or work against you in the long term, adding up to eventual success or eventual failure, and it's very predictable. This concept shows up in health, wealth, relationships, personal development, and any other area of life. It's deceptively simple, but it's extremely powerful. I strongly believe that what you do every day will dictate the success you achieve, whether it be in fitness, business, personal development, or anything else. You want to clearly define your goal, make a decision and a declaration. You want to identify a proven plan, figure out the daily habits and practices you'll be committing to every day, especially when you don't feel like it. And finally, you want to execute that plan. So that is exactly what losing 50 pounds and getting ripped taught me about business and about life. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got something you can put to use today that's going to be helpful to you. So just let me know. Which, of course, guys, brings us to the question of the week. And I asked a similar question on Instagram recently, and I got so many interesting responses. And I want you to jump into gameofgrow.com/chat. This is the number one place where I can answer your questions, have entrepreneurial conversations, and serve you. So I want to know, what are your goals and dreams? Where are you with them? What obstacles are holding you back? How can I help? And if you are listening right now, it means that you're part of the Game of Grow community. And I really genuinely want to get to know you so that we can all grow and win together. Rather than send your response via email, the community on Facebook or social media, these are all wonderful places, and I'd love to see you there as well. But rather than all that, hit me up in gameofgrow.com/chat, which is the Game of Grow Insiders chat, and let's discuss. Which, of course, brings us to the fee. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been here before, you already know what time it is. If you're brand new, welcome. It's going to be super easy. So the fee is not about money. It's about something way better than that. And that is growing our community together. So I want to thank you guys for dominating this week in and week out. So for each and every episode you got value from, for each episode you enjoyed, I want you to bring me back one person who you know would enjoy this content, tell them about it, and then you guys can subscribe to the show and leave your 8, 9, 10-star reviews together. I really appreciate you guys for that. All right, guys, and with that, I will see you guys back here real soon on the Game of Grow podcast. Because remember, it doesn't matter where you start or where you are right now. It's about setting your goals and intentions, finding a proven plan, and then executing on that plan. Are you willing to take the challenge and grow? DJ, drop that beat and take us out. Thank you for tuning in to the Game of Grow movement. If you'd like to hear more, head to gameofgrow.com to sign up for my weekly updates about my own journey as I create the powerful, profitable, and impactful business of my dreams. And I want to hear about your journey as well. And if you want to connect on social media, I'm at Game of Grow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On LinkedIn, just search for my name. Don't forget to join us in the Game of Grow community, which you can search for on Facebook. And if you love the show, the biggest way you can help is to subscribe, rate, and review, and then find a like-minded friend you can help to do the same. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.